and welcome to the news. Naturally, the Wednesday package packs an extra punch on hot news, reviews, previews, and interviews with Nigeria and Nigerians at the heart of our perspectives and analysis. We will also keep track of stories emanating from different zones and trends in key sectors of the economy. Tonight, 2 out and 2 in. Chief executives of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission resign. Replacements already found. Still on oil and gas, reduction in the pump price of PMS. Nigerians welcome development, but some stations retain old prices.
5 days ago, they brought it down to 930. And then they reduced it to 910 again. And then yesterday they reduced it to 840 per litre.
Planned nationwide protests, Labour and government find common ground.
The fact that it has been addressed, I think we have achieved to a substantial extent. It's not like the insecurity will be finished today.
Care for the elderly. First Lady's sensitive support applauded nationwide. And in our series on the outgoing year, our reports are on standby in the southwest and the southeast.
From the streets of Osogbo, News Extra looks at Osun's journey in the outgoing year, the culture, the politics, and of course, the defining moments of the year.
I am Susan Eze in Enugu, and on News Extra tonight, I bring you up to speed with the major transformations that happened in the Enugu State education sector in 2025 and the projections for 2026, plus the major event that changed the trajectory of the Enugu State political landscape this year. Do stay.
Brilliant. Also tonight, Benny Adams counts every penny being spent to boost MSMEs in Nigeria, while Badi Adeleye has a preview of the Africa Cup of Nations and other tournaments across the globe. As we say on this shift, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Yanri John. This is News Extra. Welcome. Let's set sail tonight as the people of Abuja Kingdom in Bayelsa State are inviting President Bola Tinubu to consider running again to renew his mandate in 2027. The message was delivered by leaders of the kingdom who visited President Bola Tinubu in the State House. State House correspondent Musbal Danwahab reports.
Leaders from Abuja Kingdom, one of those in Bayelsa State, with Oloibiri, where oil was first discovered in commercial quantity in the country located in their kingdom, Abuja remains so revered in the Niger Delta region and significant to Nigeria's economy. They called this a thank you visit to the president for his inclusive leadership, genuine commitment to their development and appointment of many of their sons and daughters to significant positions of government. One of them is the Managing Director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Samuel Ogbuko. He commended various developmental projects and programs of the federal government in their area through the NDDC, which include construction of roads and bridges, Operation Light Up the Niger Delta, ecological projects and healthcare services, among others. However, they are craving for more in establishment of federal institution of learning in their land, erosion control, and others.
Reclamation, dredging, piling, and shoreline protection of Abuja coastal community to combat the severe menace of erosion. Abuja is erosion prone, most of the community in Ayam especially. And you can build a house now, in the next 2 years, I have been taken over by water.
And they promised their support to the continuity of the president for the second term in office.
It is a firm belief that Mr. President has done us well, and as such we cannot help but to reciprocate a kind gesture by inviting Mr. President to contest the next presidential election, taking for granted the full support of the Ogbia Kingdom. Mr. President, we are solidly behind you. Mr. President, these critical moments clearly demonstrated that the people of Ogbia have consistently believed and sacrificed for one indivisible Nigeria, which we believe yesterday, today, and tomorrow, that Nigeria must be one.
President Bola Tinubu, who assures that with ongoing efforts, Nigeria will win the fight against all forms of insecurity, says its priority remains the general and all-inclusive development of Nigeria to move the nation forward.
We are out of the tunnel of depression and economic disaster. The economy has turned the corner for good. It's left for us to ensure that the ordinary people at the bottom of the ladder feel the benefit of this economy. We're working on that. Now, part of Nigeria is challenged by the terrorists and banditry, and the challenge is enormous. Success is being achieved. We are prosecuting them, we are arresting them, we are neutralizing some of them. We will continue to do that. Men and women of armed forces are fighting very hard to bring peace and stability to the country. And I can guarantee you, we will win over terrorism.
Father, we pray that you continue to guide and protect him.
Amen. Ogbia local government area of Bayelsa State is the origin of former President Goodluck Jonathan. From the State House, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has communicated Senate seeking the repeal and reenactment of the 2024 appropriations in order to bring to an end the unhealthy practice of running multiple budget cycles concurrently. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the bill was given expeditious consideration as Senate took the first and second reading of the bill at plenary Wednesday.
This bill is submitted to bring an end to the practice of running multiple budgets currently, while at the same time ensuring reasonable, indeed unprecedentedly high capital performance rates.
Less than 2 weeks to the end of 2025, Nigeria is still implementing the capital components of 2024 Appropriation Act, leading the debate on the executive bill that seeks to prevent similar experience in 2026. Senate leader Ogbeyemi Bamidele explains that the legislation would regularize expenditure for transparency and impact.
It therefore strikes a careful balance between responsiveness and responsibility. The bill reinforces the collective well-being of Nigerians by ensuring that expenditures aimed at safeguarding national security, social stability, and economic continuity are not left in legal or administrative uncertainty.
The bill scaled second reading as Senate commits to fast-track its passage.
The bill is referred to the Committee on Appropriation and to report back within 2 days.
Plenary featured adoption of the report of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on National Security following the conclusion of engagements with stakeholders and communities across the 6 geopolitical zones. The reports noted that issues of insecurity in Nigeria are intricate and multifaceted.
A sustained and coordinated effort is necessary to tackle the country's security challenges and ensure a safer and more prosperous future for all Nigerians.
The report has equally captured the issue of deployment of technology in the fight against insecurity, because deployment of technology is sine qua non for the success of the fight against insecurity in today's world.
The committee was set up in response to several motions raised in the Red Chamber on incessant security breaches in the last couple of years. Senate resolves to hold the National Security Summit on Insecurity early next year. A motion from Senator Ireti Kingibe requesting investigation of alleged infractions in the Federal Capital Territory Administration could not be concluded, as part of the motion were discovered to be in breach of procedure in the Senate. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Still in the National Assembly, but looking at the Green Chamber now, the House of Representatives has commenced consideration of a bill to repeal the Electoral Act 2022 and enact the Electoral Bill 2025, with lawmakers favorably disposed to electronic transmission of results from the polling unit to INEC's result viewing portal. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikme reports that the House is yet to pass the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper for 2026 to 2028.
The House Committee on Supply, chaired by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, deferred consideration and passage of the medium-term expenditure framework to enable the House Committees on Finance and National Planning find a common ground with the executive on oil price benchmark projections.
The committee recommends that the projected crude benchmark price of 64.85, 64.30, 65.50 per barrel for 2026, 2027 and 2028 respectively be reduced to $60 for 2026 per barrel.
It is our work and responsibility to determine where do we accommodate the shortfall. Because there is an apparent shortfall here. If we calculate, we will no longer have 54-point-something trillion as the total budget.
Consideration of proposed amendments to the Electoral Act 2022 generated robust debate among lawmakers as they meticulously examined key provisions. The proposed electoral bill introduces stronger provisions in the use of technology to improve the credibility and transparency of elections, while also proposing stiffer penalties for declaration of false results.
A collection officer commits an offense if he intentionally collects or announces a false result is liable a conviction to imprisonment for a term not less than 2 years. Mr. Chairman, I want to suggest to make it 5 years, considering the gravity of the offense.
The electoral officer is punished by this clause. But what about the beneficiary of this negligence?
The presiding officer shall electronically transmit the results from each unit to the RF portal in real time, and such transmission shall be done simultaneously with the physical collation of results to the world level.
And such transmission shall be done after the prescribed from EC8A has been signed and stamped by the presiding officer.
So if the electronic fails, is it eligible for the officer to transmit manually?
The electoral bill consideration is expected to be concluded this week. Meanwhile, the House says it is set to commence robust oversight and scrutiny of all treaties, agreements and memoranda of understanding entered into by Nigeria in a bid to protect national interest.
Why this matters to Nigerians: treaties affect everyday life, job creation, trade, taxes, infrastructure, and foreign investment.
The review of national treaties and agreements is expected in the coming days. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Now, looking at the oil and gas sector, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has asked the Senate to approve the nominations of 2 new chief executives for the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, indicates the request followed the resignation of Engineer Farouk Ahmed of the NMDPRA and Benga Komolafe of the NUPRC. Both officials were appointed in 2021 by former President Buhari to lead the 2 regulatory agencies created by the Petroleum Industry Act. To fill these positions, President Tinubu has written to the Senate requesting expedited confirmation of Orishe Miyewa Esyeson as CEO of NUPRC and Engineer Seidu Aliyu, Mohammed as CEO of NMDPRA. The two nominees are seasoned professionals in the oil and gas industry. And still looking at developments in the oil and gas sector, unlike most end of year where petroleum products are scarce and there's hike in prices, a wave of relief is sweeping across the country as petrol pump prices begin to drop, following Dangote's refinery's recent reduction in ex-depot rates. Energy correspondent Lydia Sampson gives us a situation update in Abuja.
Though some petrol stations in Abuja have begun adjusting their pump price to 840 naira per litre following recent market adjustments. However, others are yet to reflect the reduction, citing the need to exhaust existing stock protests at higher rates to avoid losses. Slowly but surely, pump price is coming down, and motorists are very optimistic that it will keep coming down.
It was at 940. And then about 4 or 5 days ago, they brought it down to 930, and then they reduced it to 910 again. So, and then yesterday they reduced it to 840 per liter. It makes me feel good.
About the fuel, 840. The fuel no drop. The fuel is today 910 naira instead of 884 naira. They say they will now down 910 naira up to now.
Okay, I just bought it at 910 now here, so. Though I was expecting they would have started the old price for Dangote, but they said they still have stock, so I'm optimistic that it will get better.
Industry players who spoke off camera are of the view that the price difference highlights ongoing market instability, which may discourage investors and create instability in the downstream. As we keep going around petrol stations, we believe we will see more of this manifest, and one thing is certain. This season, unlike in the past when we have scarcity and a lot of hike in price, this may not be the case this time around. So Nigerians and motorists generally are keeping their fingers crossed that as this pump price reduction reflects and continue to manifest in other stations in Abuja. Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Many thanks, Lydia, for the update. Keep your eyes on the pump price. We want to know when you hear something new. Now, the organized labor has relaxed its nationwide protest and pledged unflinching support to the federal government's efforts in tackling cases of security breach and other socio-economic challenges nationwide. Correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports.
To what may best be described as a two-day negotiation effort by both government delegation and the organized labor, hope stood tall amidst certainties. Now the closed doors are over, resolutions reached, streets are deserted, and workers back to work. But the organized labor believed commitment should be sustained to tame the tide of socio-economic and security challenges.
Mr. President said he has put Nigeria at the map of prosperity. And we agreed that we are going to meet in January to look at some gray areas and where we need to touch, which will equally translate to prosperity of the working people of Nigeria. The point of meeting with the President and sending our message, that's the message, and that's the protest. And the fact that it is being addressed, I think we have achieved to a substantial extent. It's not like the insecurity will be finished today.
For now, both the government and labor, we are on the same page to ensure that Nigeria is better protected and more investments in the areas of security should be encouraged. And President's programs to secure Nigeria and the entire space should also be supported. We are very grateful to Mr. President for the way he came out to explain to the labor union his programs and activities for an improved security arrangement in the country.
One agenda on the table was clear to all parties that the interest of the nation is above all interest, and renewed determination is required to stabilize and defend the nation's sovereignty. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Now looking at other news, the federal government says it has commenced the implementation of policies and programs towards realizing its vision of universal health coverage by the year 2030. During an advocacy visit to the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says in view of the successes in the health ministry and beyond ministerial press briefings, he will fast-track fact-finding mission as government spokesman while encouraging account of stewardship. Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara has the rest of the report.
In this APC youth house in Abuja are representatives of APC support groups and students from higher institutions across the city who had the opportunity to interact with government spokesman on the Renewed Hope administration's journey so far and the prospect ahead.
We need to tell ourselves the truth in this country. Government, the presidency of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu owns up to every situation. And this is critical. And that's why young people must first of all start by trusting this administration. This is the administration that has put a lot of effort in the young people. Only a few days ago, Mr. President launched the 3 MTT, the 3 million technical talent for the youth. And by the way, look at even NEL Fund, that about 780,000 Nigerian students, young people, have now access to go to school. You don't know what that means. Over 150-something billion has already been expended by the president, and the president is saying there is no stop to this for now.
It was a heart-to-heart discussion where the minister took the youth through his life journey and how the spirit of passion, perseverance, and positive thinking could help actualize people's dreams and inspire them towards national service and sacrifices.
If you throw a bomb now, it will not go beyond 1 kilometer. But if you drop misinformation or fake news now, it can go thousands of kilometers to create confusion, to kill some people, to destroy communities, to damage relationships. And that's why Administration of Information and National Orientation, one of the key things that I want to do, if you look at what I set out to do when I was appointed, we said we need to restore trust in public communication.
He acknowledged various youth-oriented programs as deliberate, aimed to change the narrative, and challenged the youth to use evolving platforms for networking to promote peace, unity, and national values reorientation.
Challenges do exist, no doubt about that. We've never shied away from that. Government has never said these challenges do not exist. But from economy to the issue of security that we have, you can see there's a progressive movement to ensure that this country is reset. And this is one of the reasons why we are here today.
He assured that under the presidency of Bola Tinubu, youth-oriented programs are a priority. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
That report was on the Minister of Information's interaction with youths in the APC. The report on the minister's visits to the health ministry will definitely come in the course of this bulletin. Now, let's look at other news. It's 2 weeks to the end of the year. And usually at this time, there is a lot of movement to different parts of the country. Tonight, our transport correspondent Oyeyemi Ajayi is at a busy street in Otaku, Abuja, known as Hub for interstate travel. Oyeyemi, it's good to see you. Tell us what is happening at your end.
All right, Jerry, presently, as you usually know, at times like these, there tend to be higher procedural activities going on here. As it is here at Jabi Park, behind the Jabi Market, behind it, there seem to be busy activities as it's meant to be. And some of the vehicles have departed to different locations, and some of the vehicles have departed to their different locations, while some are still trying to load on before they move on. Now beside me here is one of the workers here at this Jabi Park. His name is Mr. Michael. Mr. Michael, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How will you describe the activities here at this moment compared to when we're talking about Christmas festivities? How will you describe it now?
Actually, people used to travel very well like this morning. We have a lot of, especially night, people used to travel more than, night is better than more than day because of that. We have a lot of security on the road, and then the road is very safely so much. And people, if you look at my back, some of my colleagues are moving. If you go down there too, some people have already moved. And we have a lot of people that are going, even to go to Lagos also, people have been traveling time to time. They are moving every night very well.
So what about the fare? What's the price of, talking about different locations, how much is it from Abuja to Lagos, Abuja to Port
Harcourt? Night price is different from day. But night like this, we have Lagos 45,500. Port Harcourt is 50,500. In the morning is 65,500.
So which other location from Abuja to where?
We have Port Harcourt, Bayelsa, and Warri, and Uyo, and Calabar also.
And there seem to be people actually coming to board vehicles here.
Yeah. People used to come. If you look at this, our company vehicle, this is RTC transport. You have a lot of people over there. They used to come. We are moving both day and night. We used to move every day for here. But for night, security is very safe, 100%. We have different security on there. We have soldiers, we have police, we have all these VGM, we have all these vigilante people. They secure the roads very well.
All right, Yere, you've heard what he said. I don't know if there are some other questions you want to ask me.
I want to ask which route is the busiest at this time? Which route has more passengers? And is there a likelihood that the fares will go down since the price of petrol is coming down?
All right. Which route is actually the busiest at this moment from Abuja to where?
From Abuja to Port Harcourt, the road is very busy 24 hours. Even though from Abuja to Lagos, the road is busy. If you go to Lagos presently now, you will see a lot of crowd more than Abuja. People used to travel night than day. You will see crowd everywhere because people used to move 24 hours on the road. That's the reason why.
All right.
The road is very safely 100%. It's very safe 100%.
All right, thank you. Yeri, over to you.
Many thanks, Oyemi. Of course, we'd like to know if the fares will come down. Of course, I'm sure you get updates for us as we continue, in this season. Many thanks once again, Oyemi, for that package.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
This is News Extra. Time for a break. More news shortly. Stay with us. Glad to have you back. We now bring you our report on the Minister of Information visit to the Ministry of Health, as earlier read in the first part of this news bulletin.
Both the visiting and the host ministers have been at the forefront of championing the reforms in the health sector outside the comfort of their offices, demonstrating the practical efforts of government. To strengthen this partnership and propagate reforms in the health sector, critical for national development, government spokesman believes successes on disease prevention mechanism, encouraging medical industrialization, are worthy of mention.
Now, what this means is that it's not just enough for you to be a manufacturer and then you see Nigeria as a dumping ground, you just come, bring your drugs, you sell to us, you go back perpetually. The Honorable Minister was saying, yes, you can actually sell these drugs, but there must be some transitional arrangement that we have with you in a way that as you are selling these drugs to us, you are also selling the know-how to us and setting up some of these facilities here so that our people can also work there, replicate this, create job for our people and bring this manufacturing sector closer to people. It is said in the communication parlance that 50% of the execution is actually in the communication, meaning that if you don't communicate, you have done nothing.
Rapid diagnosis tests are now being manufactured. Audits and others who have actually set up plants and are ready. Pharmaceutical companies are expanding. There are about 100 local manufacturers that are in the process of getting NAFDAC clearances. There are also indications that pharmaceutical industry in Nigeria, they have seen an amazing increase in their profit in the last 1 year.
The Minister of Health and Social Welfare assured through diligent implementation of the blueprint in the health sector, medical tourism abroad is now optional as there is no more barriers to accessing quality and affordable health care services in Nigeria.
Decades-long atrophy in the Nigerian health sector is beginning to be reversed. We're seeing mortality of mothers actually beginning to come down, and your agencies can help tell more of the story of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's successes in health.
We have enough resources in Nigeria today to be able to handle most cancer cases. And no Nigerian needs to travel out for cancer care.
The meeting ended with a strong commitment to explore the reach of the Ministry of Information and National Orientation and its relevant agencies to amplify the activities of government, including the health sector, whose transformative drive is to heal and unite the nation. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
In other news, disbursement of 200,000 naira to the elderly under the Renewed Hope Initiative Elder Support Scheme 3rd edition continues in states across the country. Here is a compilation of some states put together by Elizabeth Omori.
In Lagos, Joy Ken Abakboya reports that smiles and relief were evident as senior citizens gathered to benefit from the initiative.
We should make use of the money in a very good way.
It is therefore our moral duty and indeed our joy to ensure that they live their twilight years in comfort.
Yemisi Ajagun in Ibadan reports that Christmas came early for the elderly in the state, reaffirming government's efforts to strengthen social welfare.
The Renewed Hope Initiative has made it a tradition to celebrate our senior citizens every December in recognition of their invaluable contributions to nation building.
In Kogi State, Ajibola Christopher says beneficiaries were assured of more life-changing programs to make aging easy.
My advice to our senior citizens is to do all that is possible to find joy in old age.
I cannot even show her how I'm happy. God will bless her.
The two way you do, nobody they do them before.
In Sokoto State, as beneficiaries commend the kind gesture, they also enjoyed free medical checks.
Nurture both your body and mind through regular exercise and meaningful engagement.
Same exercise took place in Zamfara State.
I encourage you to continue playing your part by staying healthy and active.
250 senior citizens drawn from the 34 local government areas of Katsina State received 200,000 naira each.
She wants them to know and understand that we are still with them. We love them and we want to support them.
Abigail Bashir reports that wife of Nasarawa State Deputy Governor made the presentation on behalf of Nigeria's First Lady in Lafia.
As we approach the festive season, it is crucial to emphasize the importance of prioritizing our elderly citizens in our initiatives.
The initiative also provided additional support in neighboring states, aligning with broader objectives of improving the welfare of the elderly.
This social investment program embodies our ongoing efforts to ensure that our elderly citizens live with dignity.
There were people who were supposed to die, but they have resurrected. They are now alive. Made seeing that a lot, and with these gifts, this thing increases my life in short.
The aim is to make the older adults find joy in old age. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
In other news, Works Minister David Umahi has expressed the current administration's commitment to complete all ongoing road infrastructure across the nation within stipulated time frame. Kenneth Nanim reports that at a press briefing in Abuja, the minister emphasizes that the 6 geopolitical zones of the country are captured in the ongoing road infrastructural revolution.
Explaining the 4 legacy projects as a network connecting the economic corridors of the country, David Umahi is optimistic that the roads, when completed, will boost the socio-economic fortunes of the country. He commends effort by the current administration to have completed 47.7 kilometers of Section 1 of Lagos-Calabar-Kosa Highway, now temporarily opened for vehicular movement. On the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano road that connects North Central to Northwest, the minister says is another project that is critical to economic development of the country, which is being reconstructed using the concrete pavement reinforcement technology.
This is #1 project of the ministry because of the interest of the president, because it's a very highly trafficked road. And so when you use concrete to do it, then for the next 50 to 100 years, you don't have to touch that road. And I want people to, beat me on this. Go to where asphalt is being used. A lot of failures have happened.
The minister also highlighted some other road projects ongoing across the country.
The Gombe to Bauchi, by tractor. That project is ongoing. You have the, Azera Bauchi road that cut into 5. The president has released intervention funds to, have it, done. You have the, View road. That project is also ongoing. From Lokoja to Kene, we have CGC, project in that place, dualization, and a flyover, and it's about 70% done.
Go to Sokoto, Zamfara, Funtua, Katsina, Kaduna. What a big dream that somebody will begin his journey from Ilela, close to Kwani in Niger Republic, and drive all through to Lagos with solar lights, CCTV, on concrete. And people will now be telling us that we should not support this work. What are they saying?
He emphasizes that the ministry has subjected to constant supervision and subjected the ongoing road infrastructure projects to scrutiny by the anti-graft agencies to ensure standards and specifications are adhered to, as well as to curtail sharp practices. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Similarly, poor road infrastructure remains a key barrier to development in rural areas, limiting access to markets and reducing returns for farmers. To address this, the Kano State government launches multi-billion-naira road projects to connect towns and villages across the state. Abdullahi Mustafa feeds us.
The larger parts of rural Kano are dominated by agricultural communities. Many residents engage in year-round farming, which serves as their primary source of livelihood. However, transporting farm produce from rural areas to markets has remained a major challenge. For nearly a decade, communities along the Kura-Kubarachi-Madobi road have endured severe hardship due to an impassable road and the collapse of a bridge over the Chalawa River.
We used canoes to cross the river and transport our farm produce.
In response, Kano State government awarded the 14-kilometer road project, with the reconstruction of the collapsed bridge already completed.
A lot of food is being produced in this area, so the relevance of this road to the people is very, very important.
Also awarded is the 70-kilometer Madobi-Yako Kafumiyaki Kiru road, which has been in a deplorable condition for many years.
For more than 20 years, we have been suffering from the issue of this actual road. So we thank Allah and we thank His Excellency.
To connect more farming communities, the 23-kilometer road linking Rogo, Bari, Falgore and Mahangi in Katsina State is at advanced stage of construction.
This particular point is in Kafur local government area, and traveling from this community, this part of Katsina State, to other parts of Kano State has been difficult.
The entire population of Kafur local government area are pleased with Kano State government for this project.
When completed, the roads are expected to reduce post-harvest losses, curb produce glut, and discourage rural-urban migration. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
And away from Kano State on our 2025 Talking Point series tonight, we're in Osogbo to join Femi Afariagun, who is offering a mix of the traditional and political happenings in Osun State. Femi.
January this year opened with headlines that quickly placed Osun State in the national conversation. A lingering local government crisis which disrupted governance at the grassroots level where council secretariats were locked, a situation that has remained unresolved till date. But even as politics cast long shadow, Osun's cultural heritage never stopped. The spiritual splendor of Osun Osogbo and the Olojo Festival drew tourists from across the globe. After the cultural festival, another political maneuver came in, which is the party primaries ahead of the 2026 Osun governorship election. Loyalty shifted, people defected, where Governor Ademola Adeleke emerged as the candidate of Accord Party, and we have Bola Oyebamiji also emerged through a consensus as the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, among others. On Monday this week, INEC's deadline for party primaries officially closed. The big question now is not just who is contesting, but how they are going to campaign. Here with me is a lawyer and a public affairs analyst, Wole Oladapo. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
What is your assessment of the political atmosphere in Osun State?
Yeah, the political atmosphere of Osun, as we currently speak, is such that people are expectant. We hope, and it is our expectation, that candidates will go about campaigning about the issues that faces the public, the people's needs, how it will be met by their own campaigns, by their yearnings and aspirations, how at the end of the day the elections will come and be peaceful. It's also hope that government agencies that will be concerned with elections, from INEC to security agencies and all other agents that are concerned, will also play their role in ensuring that Osun elections 2026 becomes very peaceful, to fulfill the yearnings and aspirations of the people by whoever will emerge as a candidate, as a governor, as a candidate of their political parties. That is our expectation as we speak as a people in Osun State.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
You have heard it from him, the expectation of the people for the year 2026. We hope the politicians will abide by the rule in the coming year.
Many thanks, Femi, for that. Now, the National Economic Council has constituted a committee on livestock development to expedite the implementation of livestock production in Nigeria. The NEC Committee on Livestock Development was constituted on Wednesday during its 155th meeting held virtually. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that Vice President Kashim Shettima emphasized on a practical, enduring and nationally acceptable solution to the farmer headache crisis will guarantee food security in the country.
The Vice President to get the NEC, first of all, to see which village or grazing reserves that can be salvaged or rehabilitated.
A quick response to President Tinubu's concern over the dispute on ranching, the National Economic Council to mediate in bringing solutions to the developmental challenges.
The President has initiated this conversation born out of a genuine concern for the peace and security of this nation. No state will be compelled to join this movement, but it's for the good of our nation. The leading authority on grazing reserves under the current dispensation is an Igbo man from Imo State. That goes to show that what binds us together supersedes whatever that divides us. Let us therefore deliberate with honesty, courage, and a shared sense of purpose. Let our discussions today be guided by the knowledge that the peace we seek can never be achieved when those who feed the nation live in fear.
And the National Economic Council, after extensive deliberations, agreed to constitute a committee on the national livestock transformation led by Kebbi State Governor, with governors of Bauchi, Niger, Ondo, Imo, and Cross River as members.
The two instructions given to the committee were that quickly consider the presentations made by both the Ministry of Livestock as well as the Presidential Committee and recommend to the National Economic Council activities and funding that should be provided as soon as possible. Secondly, identify locations to be provided by interested states that could be developed to support livestock in an inclusive manner to eliminate conflict.
The committee is to consider the presentations made by the Ministry of Livestock Development and the Presidential Committee on Livestock Development. The National Economic Council has also received a report on the status of the Federation accounts.
The excess crude account had roughly $536,000. I reported that the net of the states accounts with the federal government, and that's the states with deficits with the federal government, the amount came to 11.4 billion naira. And that the stabilization fund had in it 76.4 billion naira. And the development of natural resources fund had 97.4 billion naira.
The National Economic Council in the next meeting is expected to receive report of the Committee on Livestock Development Transformation for their next line of action. From the State House, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
Now looking at air travel, the Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau, NSIB, has launched a full investigation into an accident involving a Cessna 172 belonging to Sky Power Express, which occurred on Monday, 16th December 2025 at Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport, Owerri, Imo State. The aircraft was en route to Kaduna International Airport to Port Harcourt when the crew declared an emergency and diverted to Owerri. During the approach to runway 17, the aircraft crashed in the approach area. 4 occupants were on board. Fortunately, no fatality has been reported. Airport emergency services were promptly activated, arrived on scene and secured the area. There was no post-crash fire and the runway remained operational, allowing other flights to continue safely. NSIB says it will keep the public informed as new information becomes available. Meanwhile, Nigeria has been re-elected to the International Civil Aviation Organization Public Key Directory Board for a 6th consecutive term. This followed elections held during the 31st ICAO PKD board meeting in Montreal, Canada, where Nigeria secured continued membership based on its contributions to electronic travel document security and digital identity systems. A statement by the Public Relations Officer, Nigeria Immigration Service, Akinshola Akinlabi, indicates that Comptroller General of Immigration, Kemi Nandap, led the country's delegation to the meeting. The statement adds that the re-election reinforces the country's commitment to global aviation security standards and international cooperation under President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Now looking elsewhere, the 2025 second biannual meeting of the National Consultative Committee on Statistics holding in Port Harcourt is to enthrone a digital, inclusive and reliable modern data system that will help transform Nigeria's economy for national development. Experts were unanimous that effective coordination is key to ensuring that collected data are trusted, secured and applied. Kingsley Amadiri was there.
Engagement in Port Harcourt provides a strategic platform on how to strengthen statistical coordination nationwide and in turn align generated data for economic planning. It brought together technocrats, policymakers, the academia, and development partners to deliberate on the theme harnessing the power of statistics for Nigeria's sustainable development and economic transformation. Rivers State Governor Siminalaye Fubara, represented by the State Head of Service, says hosting the meeting demonstrates the commitment and state government premium on statistics to help in planning and budgeting, which are key to achieving sustainable development.
At the sub-national level, we in Rivers State fully align with this national vision. Our administration is firmly committed to evidence-based governance. We believe that policies must be guided by facts, not assumptions, and by data, not conjunction.
The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, the statutory agency for effective nationwide coordination of data, is spearheading the meeting.
The NSDS is the framework that will guide the way and manner in which data will be produced within the country, Nigerian statistical system, in the next 4 to 5 years.
The National Committee on Statistics says the completion of the state's computation of GDPs and the reports online are signals of how statistics can be harnessed for national development. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy has held its quarterly performance review with the chief executives of its agencies attending. The meeting focused on marine safety and performance bonds, tying agency budgets to tangible results for Nigerians. Shehu Mohammed Dati reports.
The meeting's theme, positioning Nigeria's marine and blue economy for investment, innovation and expansion. The minister emphasized that 2025 performance bonds are a contract with Nigerians, not mere paperwork.
Our engagement with stakeholders and citizens is not a ceremonial exercise. It is a deliberate governance tool aligned with the renewal of agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and anchored on the belief that sustainable reform can only be achieved through dialogue, trust, and collective responsibility.
Agency heads shared reviews and success stories.
So many of these initiatives are yielding fruitful results. And this is due to the consistency of the Honorable Minister and the astute leadership that he has provided.
So in terms of revenue, we got up to 1.2 trillion naira in the last year. And then nationally, again, in terms of container traffic, we have achieved 18.9% increase.
The head of civil service launched the ministry's enterprise content management system, promoting full digitization.
While this ministry plans and regulates the maritime economy, the celebration itself will not require charts, tables, or shipping schedules.
With the agencies under the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy and other stakeholders giving their quarterly brief, the focus has now shifted to the 2026 budget proposals. The minister warned it must strictly align with the Blue Economy roadmap. In Abuja, I'm Shehu Muhammad Dati, NTA News.
All right, let's pause briefly. There's more news after this short break. Stay with us. Many thanks for remaining with us. Vice Chancellors of Nigerian universities have pledged to work closely with the National Assembly to improve on ethical standards required to make the institutions of learning compete favorably with their counterparts the world over. National Assembly correspondent Muhammad Rabiu reports that at an interface with the House Committee on University Education, some heads of federal universities in the North Central visited admitted some infractions in their records.
In their submission, University of Abuja was found with conflicting figures and violation of federal character principles in recruitment process.
Your submission is full of these inconsistencies. A lot. Amount generated did not correspond with the actual expenditure, and the deficit or the surplus, no information for those surpluses.
I can assure you that we did not try to conceal facts. I take responsibility, even though I was not part of most of this. But we're going to look at it again and effect all the corrections we should make. They are there to speak for themselves.
Federal University of Technology, Minna, and that of Education, Kontagora, appeared before the committee. Issue of nominal roll and internally generated revenue spending were identified, directing the management to resubmit their documents within 1 week.
I want to say here with all emphasis that the proper documentation will be guaranteed.
I think with this, you are gradually saving us from the accountant and auditor general's report.
The committee's visit to Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, which was cut short a couple of days back, came to the National Assembly.
By apologizing to chairman and members of this committee for all that happens during your visit to Sokoto.
The committee is expected to round off its 2025 oversight this December. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
And still talking education, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has secured the support of relevant government agencies in ensuring that any individual or CBT center implicated in malpractices is not allowed back into the system. JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede disclosed this in Ilorin while monitoring the ongoing accreditation exercise for computer-based test centers ahead of the 2026 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. Abdul Hafiz Alaya's report is here presented.
Over 1,000 computer-based test centers across the country are undergoing reaccreditation to ensure that only those who meet the requirements participate in 2026 UTME. Professor Oloyede, while monitoring the activities of JAMB accreditation team in Kwara State, said the board has discovered some individuals implicated in malpractices during the last UTME, trying to repackage themselves for accreditation. As a proactive body committed to maintaining globally recognized standards, JAMB has partnered with Corporate Affairs Commission and security agencies to stop any individual or CBT center with records of infraction from accessing its system.
We have also moved this year to a level that once a computer is found belong to a center that we have delisted, that computer can never come back to our own system. Anything that is dented in any center, be it director, be it staff, be it the tool, that center cannot come back, or that instrument or person cannot find its way back into our system.
We are checking that the CBT Center's CCTV is working, that they meet the network topology that has been specified.
What we are trying to do is to ensure that all the centers that are being provided for examination by JAMB are top-notch.
Out of the 1,039 CBT centers slated for accreditation nationwide, Kwara State hosts 37 centers.
All right, that's it on education. Let's talk business now. I hear that MSMEs are having a swell time. Benny will tell us about this. Benny.
Great, and so much more in the world of business. Now, the urgent need to strengthen transparency, accountability, and governance in Nigeria's extractive sector has again been. This is our stakeholders in the extractive sector from across the country converge to review EITI 2023 standard and validation methodology ahead of global validation. Part of engagement in the next 2 days is on the new tax law, where stakeholders unveiled a policy on pathways for implementing Nigeria's new tax and revenue framework, where NTA commits to ensuring due process and transparency in the payments of revenues to the government from the extractive industry, with emphasis on curbing corruption in the processes of revenue assessment, remittances, receipts, custody, and transfers to the Federation account.
For Nigeria, this means going beyond compliance to using NTA as a reform tool that supports domestic revenue mobilization, prudent fiscal management, and inclusive governance.
Having scored 72 out of 100 points in our last assessment in 2023, we are determined to achieve a better outcome this time.
Our duty is to interrogate, question, and then try to provide knowledge, information, and of course, share understanding on the workings of this sector.
Now, the Small and Medium Enterprises Agency of Nigeria, talking about SMED, and says it will usher into the new year a new national MSMEs policy that will guarantee the formalization of additional 1 million MSMEs, establishment of microfinance bank in addition to license to operate a monotechnic, among other plans, is for affordable access to fashion, carpentry, ICT, packaging, and recycling production using modern equipment. This was as the Director General of SMEDAN, Charles O.D., played host to industry, trade and investment correspondent at the Idu Industrial Area in Abuja.
Funding for our small businesses, and by funding, I mean cheap funding. We are in the process of brokering 12 billion cheap funding for our small businesses. Last time we checked, approximately 500,000 small businesses have accessed this funding, but we want that number to increase drastically. We want to push those numbers somewhere above 3 million, so that can actually reflect a percentage of the small businesses that exist in Nigeria. We are working with some state governments. Some of them are very receptive. We want to make sure that we can replicate this across. Imagine that we have 774 of these across Nigeria. That would reduce the high rate of unemployment and insecurity in the country.
Now, a quick look at the markets at this time. Transactions across markets from Nigeria to South Africa and Tunisia were defined by industrial rally, with investors engaged in tactical bargain hunting, particularly in the consumer and industrial sectors. This is as Nigerian equities sustained bullish trend as investors gained 245 billion naira, with positive market sentiment from 37 gainers, led by First Holdco against 23 decliners, led by Living Trust, with all share index rising by 0.26%. In Johannesburg, South Africa, the JSE all share index showed more muzzle, advancing by 1.05% to close at 114,044.15 basis points, while the Tunisia Tun index experienced a slight retreat today, slipping down by 0.08% to settle at 13,180.56 basis points. That is it and business. But it continues. The package continues after this break. Do stay with us.
Many thanks for remaining with us. In a bid to support vulnerable farming communities affected by the 2025 flooding and other climate-related shocks in Yobe State, the National Agricultural Development Fund, in collaboration with Yobe State government, have supported members of the National Onion Producers, Processors and Marketers Association of Nigeria and the state with improved farming inputs. Adam Yusuf Ali reports that the initiative is targeting to support 520 onion farmers in the state.
Chain remains one of the strategic agricultural sectors contributing significantly to the livelihoods, nutrition, and rural economic development. However, many of the onion farmers have suffered devastating losses due to unprecedented flooding and other climate-related shocks. This is the more reason for the National Agricultural Development Funds to design a targeted emergency intervention aimed at restoring production capacity, strengthening resilience, and ensuring that onion farmers are back to their fields without delay. Governor Moimola Buni, represented by the Commissioner of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Ali Mustafa, presented the item to the beneficiaries and charged them to utilize the farming inputs according to the purpose provided.
We are so grateful to National Agricultural Development Fund for coming to Yobe State, for identifying with our farmers.
Under the initiative, onion farmers selected from across Yobe State benefited. They received 1,560 cans of seeds, 2,080 bags of NPK fertilizer, and 1,040 bottles of agrochemicals, with the state chairman of NOPMAN, Bukar Usman, expressing satisfaction over the gesture. The initiative will directly benefit over 2,000 onion farmers in Sokoto, Kebbi, Yobe, and Borno State. In Damaturu, Adam Yusuf Ali, NTA News.
Away from Yobe State, now let's head to Enugu. Still on our 2025 talking points, we now join Susan Eze in Enugu, who has chosen a colorful background to give us the lowdown in the education sector in that state. Susan.
Welcome to Enugu. Indeed, 2025 has been a very eventful year for the Enugu State education sector. So many innovations came into play due to the large budgetary allocation that the sector got in the 2025 budget. 33% of the total budget came to education, way above the 15 to 20% benchmark by UNESCO. All of these saw the building of 260 smart green schools in the 260 political wards in Enugu State. Each ward in the state got a green smart school, and this brought new innovation to teaching and learning like the children had never seen it before. Each school had an AI/robotic lab, an e-learning library, a smart farm, and so many things that the children had never seen before that changed the whole pattern of learning. Also introduced was a new curriculum that adopted the experiential learning model, where children learn through hands-on skill acquisition. They learn by doing, and it changed the system of learning for them. Also in these new introductions, Enugu State did away with the 6334 system of learning and introduced a 12-year uninterrupted system where the basic education starts from the early learning up to JS3 uninterrupted, and all of this free of charge. Another major introduction was the bringing in of technical and vocational colleges. GTC Enugu spearheaded this. The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, was in the state. She commissioned the pilot state of that innovation, the GTC Enugu. Yes, it was a game changer for the technical education sector. Earlier today, we had a chat with the chairman of the Science, Technical and Vocational Education Management Board in the state, Dr. Amaka Ngene, and she did shed more light on the activities that shaped the technical education sector in the state. Hear her.
What we're doing infrastructurally is that we're going to establish state-of-the-art model TVET colleges in 8 of our federal constituencies. So GTC Enugu has been commissioned by Her Excellency Senator Oluremi Tinubu.
Again, the political scene. Enugu State witnessed a great shift from the norm in the state, and that was the cross-carpeting of the state governor, Dr. Peter Ndubisimba, from the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, to the party at the center, the APC. That was a major shift that brought about a political realignment in the state and in the southeast, breaking the 26 years uninterrupted stronghold of the PDP in the state. The future is indeed bright for the people of Enugu State. And talking of a beautiful future, look at our environment. This is the Enugu Unity Park. It exudes the spirit of the season. It's Christmas, and the environment, just like all parts of the cold city, is brightened up, is lit up in the spirit of Christmas, exuding love and peace for this season. And that's it from Enugu. It's back to the studio for the continuation of News Extra.
Many thanks, Susan Eze, for the update. Compliments of the season to you, and I can see that you're ready for Dirty December, of course. Thank you once again. Now, in a bit to correct what he describes as widespread misinformation surrounding the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari, former Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has launched a book that offers first-hand accounts of key moments that shaped the Buhari years. The book launch held in Abuja also coincided with the first posthumous birthday of the former president. Ekene Ondule was there.
It was a gathering of key players and stakeholders who served during the Muhammadu Buhari administration. Not surprising, as the book titled Headlines and Soundbites, Media Moments That Defined an Administration, seeks to set the record straight on critical events and decisions taken during their time in office. The author, Lai Mohammed, says the book was born out of the need to correct distortions, address misconceptions, and present an accurate narrative of his stewardship as information minister.
Readers of the book will gain real insights into, among other things, the toughest decisions I took as minister, the most difficult moment of my tenure, as minister a moment when I almost resigned, how we showcased government projects and provided communication materials for the 2023 electionary campaign to counter the opposition's claim.
It was during the tenure of Alhaji Lai Mohammed that the International Press Institute came to Nigeria for the first time ever. Second, Alhaji Lai Mohammed's tenure also witnessed the beginning of the bid to host what is called the UNESCO Category 2 Media and Information Literacy. It was during Lai Mohammed that, it was Lai Mohammed that started it. But of course, I finished the job only about 2 months ago. Thank you, sir, for what you have done.
The event also provided an opportunity for reflection on the legacies of former President Muhammadu Buhari, as well as discussions on other national issues.
Behind every soundbite, there was a human being, sometimes tired, sometimes determined, sometimes frustrated, but always painfully aware that his decisions impacted millions of lives.
I remain very determined to continue to contribute my quota to the political and economic development of this country in the manner which our iconic and legendary leader Muhammadu Buhari had started, and we will continue from where he stopped.
Design an arrangement where there will be no winner take all politically in Nigeria, and I think it will be better for us.
As dignitaries receive copies of the book, organizers expressed optimism that its contents would help deepen public understanding and strengthen historical narratives surrounding the past administration. In Abuja, Ekene Ndulue, NTA News.
It's now time to talk sports. Buddy is here. Buddy.
Many thanks, Yara. Let's begin with football. And of course, less than 24 hours after facing the Pharaohs of Egypt in a pre-AFCON friendly, Nigeria's Super Eagles are back in training as they intensify preparations for the African football showpiece. With only Victor Osimhen yet to arrive the team's base, as at the time of training, Coach Eric Churley and his technical crew put the available players through their paces as they perfect tactical plans 6 days before they open their AFCON campaign. Left camp. Now, after 15 years of illustrious football career, Super Eagles former captain Ahmed Musa has finally retired from the Super Eagles. Austin Edemodo captures the highlights of his memorable moments of football adventure.
Musa later had spells in Saudi Arabia and Turkey before returning home to feature in the Nigerian Premier Football League with Kano Pillars. As Ahmed Musa bows out, Nigerian football celebrates a leader, a record breaker, and a true servant of the country. In Abuja, I'm Austin Edemodo, NTA News.
Many thanks, Austin. And that's a bit on sports tonight. It's back to you, Yara.
Many thanks, Buddy. That's our package of News Extra tonight. Many thanks for being a part of it. From the entire production crew, do have a good night and, of course, enjoy the season.